Hello, Laoshi Laurince McElroy here again in another in the pre-recorded video series. This one is actually one of what could be considered a two-part series because in this presentation, we're going to focus on Chang San-Feng's The 10 Essential Points. And in the next video, probably within the next week or 10 days, we're going to focus on Young Chen Fu's 10 practice points. Now, you might notice between today and the next video, yes, there are some things that intersect. There are some things that sound the same. Hey, I wonder if, that is why some truths are considered universal. I don't know. But mention a couple of things. One, Chang San-Feng's The 10 Essential Points came to us through the Tao of Taiji Chuan, Way of Rejuvenation by Zhao Shuang Hua. I can never pronounce his name properly, and I apologize. I should be able to do that. In his chapter 4, which is the classics or the Taiji classics. So that was sort of how we came into contact with the 10 essential points. Now, a few words about Chang San-Feng, right? Some, though not all, believe that he should be credited with the founding of Tai Chi. Others are adamantly, and let me say adamantly, opposed to that particular idea. Some think that he never existed. Some raise him to the level of, becoming an immortal. Others believe that he was simply a mortal man. Some say that he was a Taoist monk who may have had ties to Buddhism. Others say that he was a Buddhist monk that may have had ties to Taoism. So all of that aside, and Water Tiger does believe that Chang San-Feng was the founder of Tai Chi Chuan. However, even if you do not believe that he founded Tai Chi, even if you do not believe that he existed, even if you do not believe that anyone with his name should be credited with these 10 essential points, they're still good points. So we're going to address them. We're going to spend some time with them today. I'm not going to list them here verbally. They're in the introduction to this video below. So we'll start with the first one, which is the body should be light and agile. Duh. More or less, simplest of terms. What does that mean? No tension. You should be relaxed. The oddity here, the paradox is that when you are tense, you actually can't feel the weight of your body. But when you're relaxed, you can feel the weight of your body. You can feel the various body parts and their substance. And it's in that way, when we can feel the substance, the weight of our bodies, that we're able to move. Tai Chi is often described, the movement, as movement like a cat, and how a cat can be so tentative in their movement, yet move with such relaxation. And that's what we want. If you're tense, try to do a quick movement from tension. You have to release the tension before you can move. You do not have agility. But if you're relaxed, you can do some jump knee tucks. Get the heart rate up going. Don't do those, right? Just because I just did them, don't do them, unless you're sure that you're okay to do them. But that is how we can be agile, when we are relaxed. The other paradox, not only do we have to feel our weight to be light, we also have to be well rooted to be light and agile. If we do not have that connection to the earth, we cannot move freely through the body. And that root, of course, is still transitory, that it disappears when it needs to and it reappears when it has to. So that's the body should be light and agile. In the simplest of terms, you're relaxed. Now, relaxed does not mean flaccid. No. It's not Saturday night, sitting in front of the television, beer on your side table, chatting with your friends on Zoom. It is a purposeful relaxation. There is intent, and we'll get to that as we keep talking about these 10 essential points. So the body should be light and agile. There's one. 2, the chi should be stirred. The spirit of vitality should be concentrated inwards. What? Well, the chi should be stirred. Sort of makes sense. Tai Chi is an internal art. So how is the Qi stirred? As we play, regardless of the fact we're also focusing on our intent, we're also, playing through the movements. We want to be sure that we have part of our mind's eye on the two circulations, the small circulation and the grand circulation. Again, is, from underneath the tongue, down the front of the body. Now, some will end the small circulation at the perineum, at the Hu Yin, at the bottom of the C. Others will put it at the Ming Men point on the lower back. We actually at Water Tiger place it just above the vertical smile, just above the buttocks. And then, regardless of where you believe the small circulation ends, the grand circulation takes over, flows up over the back, over the top of the head, down, and ends on the roof of the mouth, which is why we normally say that you should play your Tai Chi with the tip of your tongue lightly touching the roof of your mouth at that conjunction. So anyway, that's the small circulation. So you have part of your mind's eye on that orbit, if you will, and some people reverse that, and that's fine, right? The grand circulation is that sense that we at Water Tiger tend to describe in the simplest of terms as an expansion from the Xia Dantian, the esoteric channel, not the acupuncture point, on the expansive movement for Water Tiger School, more times than not, and a compression, a return to the Xia Dantian on the inhalation, on the compressing moments or the yin moments. So yang expanding out, yin compressing back. Though we can reverse that, we do reverse that, and other people simply have it reversed. There are reasons we do things the way that we do. There are reasons they do things the way that they do. But this is a Water Tiger School video, so I'm presenting our point of view. So anyway, so there's that. This in the easiest way to do grand circulation is keep your mind on your intent, right? The mind goes where the Qi goes. So if the mind is scattered, the Qi will not be stirred. It will be scattered, but the Qi is concentrated into the movement, the intent, the interaction with the shadow opponent, the block, the coming up underneath to press, strike into the chest, the deflection, keeping that arm in check as you strike with the open hand palm. That will stir the Qi in and of itself. Also, proper alignment. If you are out of alignment, if you are out of structure, now structure is not the be all and the end all in our Tai Chi, but we emphasize it a lot because it is a through thread. Because if you are overextended, you're creating strain and tension where you do not want it and where the Qi can be blocked and stagnate. If you're in too close, same thing. Now I have too much compression. Too much compression, too much extension, both bad. When you're in the right spot, everything can flow freely. And sometimes you can simply feel if you're in structure, because if you go beyond and you're really sensitive, you can feel that part of your body start to take you off balance. So structure, intent, part of the mind's eye on small circulation and grand circulation, your Qi will be stirred. The spirit of vitality, the second half of the second point, should be concentrated inwards. Sort of goes back to what I used for the first half of this, the second point. The Qi goes where the mind goes. If your mind is scattered, if you're not focused in the present moment, things will start to fall apart. Now, in the Tao of Tai Chi Chuan, Zhao writes that we want to control the five thieves, and he identifies the five thieves as the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, and the mind. So those things can tend to distract us, if you will. The eyes, what you see. The ears, what you hear. The nose, what you smell, obviously, right? The mouth, because you just can't shut up while you're playing Tai Chi. And the mind. The mind is scattered, the Qi is scattered. We have to rein in the wild horse's mind. We have to tame the monkey mind. And I know I keep touching my face, but I washed my hands just before I started this video. I'm at home, so I think I'm okay. I do not touch my face if I have to go out in the real world. But anyway, so there you go. If you do not stay focused, if you do not stay concentrated within your play, you're going to disrupt the interaction between the energy and the organs, and that would be bad. So staying in the moment, not letting, whatever your concerns are at this point in the crisis, or in this point in your life, or in this point on what you're going to do after you finish watching this video, or after you finish your practice, what you have left to do in the day, conference call that's coming up, the Zoom that you have scheduled with your friends that evening, all of that has to go away. You have to stay in the moment of your play. So that was the second. The chi should be stirred. The spirit of vitality should be concentrated inward. The third point is do not show any deficiency. What's that mean? To me, in the simplest of terms, it goes to the young family tradition point of view that no part of the body should hang like meat on a hook, which also sort of steps back to the chi should be stirred, and that idea of moving with intent. No part of the body just simply is limp. There's always, even in your yin moments, there is yang. And sometimes yin and yang weight can be yang, and the intent can actually be yin. The weight can be yin, and the intent can actually be yang. So when you're moving into force stance, you're driving that back heel down and back. This is going to come up again, another point, right? So it's not just everything moving forward. Deficiency would be that back leg is empty in both energy, intent, and weight. Well, that would be three things, but energy, intent, and weight, if it's all empty in those things, there is a deficiency. So do not show any deficiency. No part of the body should hang like meat on a hook. That is the third point. Do not show any deficiency. The fourth point, feet, legs, waist, and fingers all move as a unit. Feet, legs, waist, and fingers all move as a unit. All joints, all limbs, all parts of the body are moving not only consecutively, but concurrently. Everything is moving together. I cite this other book quite a bit because I really, really think very highly of it. Again, the reference material will be in the introduction underneath. The Way of the River, Adventures and Meditations of a Woman Martial Artist by B.K. Lauren. Reason I'm pulling this out at this point and mentioning it is that there's a quote in that book that we use a lot on the mat, in the room, and now remotely at Water Tiger School. And that's an observation that she made. After a few months, I could not move my hands without feeling it in my feet. Everything is together. Water Tiger describes this feeling as, a butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazon, and it rains on Long Island. Everything moving consecutively, joint to joint, and concurrently at the same time. So there you go. That's 4. Feet, legs, waist, fingers all move as a unit. 5, precise timing and good position are required. So this comes up a lot at different moments, but I like to cite the way that we play at Water Tiger School, the movement into our posture ward off, which is the first of the 4 postures together that we consider grasp sparrow's tail, because we start in a forming of the ball position. This hand coming up and out in sort of a frisbee throw-like movement has a relatively short distance to travel. The other hand we describe as sort of an underhand pitch, opening up, coming around, and swinging, and ending with the fingertips pointed toward the crook of the elbow. So short distance, long distance, but they all get there together. And then you move into the next moment. So the different parts of the body all move like the different gears. If you have an old-fashioned watch, not one of the digital ones, or a clock for that matter, open up the back, look at all the works, and you'll see all these gears moving at all sorts of different speeds. And they're all moving only 3 things to give you the current time to one end. They're moving the second hand, they're moving the minute hand, they're moving the hour hand. And all those things hit 3 o'clock at the same time. And that's the idea. We can strip it down to those who are earlier in programs and doing an exercise, perhaps like one of Water Tiger School's foundational exercises, walking the rails with the rotation. Hopefully you won't fall over like I just did, but you settle the weight, right hand's the top of the ball, left hand's the bottom. You take a step, and both hands finish the apex of their movement at the same time. That weight is in that foot, and the other foot is in mid-step. Or you can find out if you can do 2 rotations and have that happen, or within the time frame, get 3 rotations, maintaining vertical alignment, maintaining structure, maintaining the reality of the ball, and bring those various body parts together all at the same time. That's precise timing. Good position. We've talked about that. Structure. If you are out of structure, things aren't going to work. So you want to make sure you're in good position. You want to make sure things like the toes are pointed the way they're supposed to be, right? We emphasize in our force stance that the front toes need to be forward or in to protect the knee. It's also important just in solidity that the back foot is somewhere around a 45. 45 is ideal, but it can be a little bit shallow, a little bit deeper, and different people with different approaches do have different body positions. Because of our approach, a good position for us, for our force stance, what we need are the hips and the shoulders square. The chest is sunk, the back is rounded. Again, good position. Structure, again, if my shoulders are back, Mrs. Heileman, my first grade teacher, and I know I just sort of said that with a really bad German dialect, and she did not speak with that, but she does in my memory. But if you are in my class, when you are seated, you will sit with your spine straight, your chest out, and your shoulders back. I don't know how I survived first grade because I can't breathe in that position now, right? But chest sunk, back rounded, the little opening underneath your arms. All of these things are part of structure and part of being in good position, as well as just maintaining that end of posture position that matches your intent, your structure, from your particular lineage's approach to the movement. So precise timing and good position are required. That's 5. 6, use internal consciousness, not external forms. What? It's not about the choreography, right? You are not putting your hands in places. A favorite quote from Cheng Cheng is, in Tai Chi, your arms do not move except as part of your body. If they act independently, right? If they act independently, then the exercise is worthless. That's harsh. I recognize that's harsh, but it is a harsh reality. If you are simply putting things in places, and I know that was an over-the-top example, then that ain't it, kids. That ain't it. Right? He simplifies that. The hands don't move. Right? So think of it in that idea, that feeling that the hands are being moved through the whole body. And again, joint to joint, body part to body part, consecutively and concurrently, all at the same time. but the hands don't move. Right? So many people doing wave hands like clouds. There's like no movement in the torso whatsoever. It's solid. And like I said, that ain't it, kids. That ain't it. Right? Even that rails, you might go, well, Lawrence, you just a few moments ago, right? You did that walking the rails things, and all you're doing is spinning your arms. Well, no. You start to feel that connection through the body. If you are relaxed, so you can feel the various parts of your body. We didn't talk about that when we were light and agile, right? Tension is the numbing blanket. If we are tense, we cannot feel the way our body is moving. We cannot feel where our body is in space. When we are relaxed, we can feel that. And I can feel that sense, that connection, that fact that when my hand moves, I can feel it in my foot. When my foot moves, when my foot takes the weight, I can feel it in my hand. The two things are moving symbiotically. I can feel that there are changes in the muscles through the torso. So there are other aspects of my body involved in this. I am not simply doing that, right? That looks different. That wasn't an over-the-top example, right? But if you're relaxed and sort of feel that connection, that the shift of the weight, the filling of the foot is filling the arm, the release of the weight is emptying the other arm, then the body is moving together and is not using external forms, but internal consciousness. So that was 6. We're only 4 away. 7. You've heard me say that in these little sessions before, or in the live sessions we've been doing on Facebook to fill in for a couple of our longtime public classes that are currently suspended because of the COVID-19 crisis. Which, by the way, is exactly why Water Tiger School now has a YouTube channel. If it hadn't been for COVID-19, Water Tiger probably still wouldn't have a YouTube channel. Something up, something down. Something forward, something back, something left, something right. And that was probably the wrong order of those. However, that was all of them. Something forward, something back, something left, something right. Something up, something down. Anyway. So all of those different directions. Let's see. Something forward, something back. Something up, something down. Something left. And something right. How many digits am I holding up? Oh yeah, 6. 6 directional force. Always within our movement. We referenced this before. As I'm turning forward, I'm driving that foot down and back. I'm not just moving forward. As I'm moving back into something like repulse the monkey, right? I have that pull and that strike. The pull is coming back. The strike is moving forward. I'm turning and filling this leg. But to have that force rooted and structural, I can't just be going into that back leg, or I'm going to go that way with them. I have to be driving that foot that's there forward as I set back. As I'm rooting into that foot, I have to remain upright, or I'm going to collapse onto the ground. We describe this movement, 6 directional force, in the simplest of terms, as always being a balloon. Everything is expanding. Everything is compressing together. A balloon just doesn't go out to the sides, or it's going to pop, or just up and down, or it's going to pop. It expands 3-dimensionally. It compresses 3-dimensionally. All parts of the balloon move as part of that compression and that expansion. Some parts of the balloon you could be seeing as expanding, while other parts of the balloon you might see as compressing. You can fold, but while you're folding in, things are folding out. You can't get away from 6 directional force if you consider it within your movement. That's very, very important to sort of get your mind and your body wrapped around that particular idea. So that was 6. Sorry, I'm a little thirsty all of a sudden. Or no, that was 7. Sorry. Distinguish between substantial and insubstantial. That's 8. recognize the balance of yin and yang, right? If you can see that, it's a Tai Chi too, Tai Chi symbol, a yin-yang symbol. So some things, again, I might be driving that foot down and back, but weight-wise, I have 70% of my weight on my front leg. I have 30% of my weight on my back leg, which means, right, that 30% of this is yin weight-wise, and 70% of this is, 70% of this is, let me reverse that. 70% of this is yin, while 30% of it is yang. There we go. 70% of this is yang, 30% of it is yin. Sorry, little brain glitch. When I was in grad school, we'd refer to that as going to Guam. I don't know why, but that's what we called it. So that's one way of looking at that. You want to keep in mind what's expanding, what's contracting, because even within a movement, say parting wild horses mane, sort of my go-to thing here, that this, the inside of the bow of the arm, is compressing, is yin. The outside of the arm is expanding, yang. Again, water tiger school perspective. As that hand is moving down and back and you're pushing the palm and away and settling the wrist to come down into that position, the top part of the arm is compressing. The bottom part of the arm to settle into that active palm position in delicate lady hand, beautiful lady hand, is expanding. So you have to recognize and play with that distinction between substantial and insubstantial, empty-ish and full-ish. I would say empty and full, but again, there's always a little bit of yin, or yang in yin, and a little bit of yin in yang. So the whole body is linked through every joint. The whole body is linked through every joint. That's 9. Already sort of talked about this when we talked about the feet, legs, waist, fingers all move as a unit. One of the reasons I feel this is an important wording of that sort of that same concept is we can tend to be very joint centric as we move. And we separate the body by our joints. We want to unite the body through our joints. That is the idea, that the joints tie everything together, link everything together, that they are what brings the body together in movement, not separated. They are not doorways through which things pass. They are conduits for the movement. The whole body should be linked through the joints. 9. Which brings us to 10. Like a great river, flow unceasingly. I'm going to grab my tea bottle again. Why? Because we tend to look at the yin-yang symbol, the Tai Chi 2, or Tai Chi diagram. It's so named, right? The symbol is not named for the art is named for the symbol, right? We always see this, be it on a tea bottle, on a t-shirt, on an earring, as a static thing, as a two-dimensional static thing. It is not. It is three-dimensional, and it is constantly moving. In Tai Chi Chuan, Tai Chi Fist is also constantly moving. I had a student years and years ago, and I always return to his observation that in the form, there are really only 2 movements, and that's opening and closing. Because once you open, everything is one continuous movement until you close. And that's the idea, that yin is always going into yang, and yang is always transitioning into yin. Change is constant. It is ongoing. There is no stop until you close. There may, however, be knee pops. I don't know if you heard that or not. So there you go. The 10 points. The body should be light and agile. Qi should be stirred. The spirit of vitality should be concentrated inwards. Do not show any deficiency. Feet, legs, waist, fingers all move as a unit. Precise timing and good position are required. Use internal consciousness, not external forms. Yeah, there's another brain glitch. Oh, something up, something down, something left, something right, something forward, something back. Distinguish between substantial and insubstantial. The whole body should be linked through the joints. And like a great river, state form is there. No, like a great river, flow unceasingly. So there you have it. The 10 essential points attributed to Chang San-Feng. So thanks for your time and attention. I hope, as always, that this was helpful, perhaps a little educational, maybe slightly entertaining. And as always, also, if you have any questions or observations, feel free to share them in the comments below relating to this video in particular. And keep washing your hands. Go outside, wear a mask, or at least have one with you in case you run into people and run into a place where there are people. And continue to listen to those that truly know, medical professionals and the scientists, as to when it is truly appropriate to take the next steps. So until next time, again, the follow-up video, sometime within a week, 10 days, we'll be posting a video on the 10 practice points of Young Chen Fu. Until then, take care, stay calm, stay safe, stay aware, stay healthy.